Commander Day stood at the window of the hidden shipyard and looked at the stars. His reflection stared back at him, older now, with gray hair at his temples. Behind him, the last warship was being finished. 500 ships, 20 years of secret work, 20 years of pretending to be weak while building weapons in the dark. He remembered the day the Krethians came to Earth. Everyone was excited. Aliens were real. They came in huge ships that blocked out the sun. Their leader spoke to all of humanity at once. He said they came in peace. He said they would protect Earth. He said they would share their technology. All humanity had to do was accept Krethian guidance. The governments of Earth agreed. They were desperate. Earth was dying. Wars over water and food were everywhere. Climate change was killing millions. The Krethians offered solutions. They offered hope. It was all lies. Within 6 months, the Krethians showed their true faces. They took control of Earth's military. They took control of the governments. They said it was for humanity's own good. Then they started taking people. 40% of all humans were sent to work camps on other worlds, mining asteroids, building their cities, dying in their factories. Day's wife and daughter were taken. He never saw them again. He received notification of their deaths 3 years later. No bodies, no graves, just a number on a screen. That was when Day stopped being a cargo pilot and became something else. That was when humanity stopped being victims and started planning revenge. The door opened behind him. Hana walked in carrying a datapad. She was the genius who designed the engines that made their ships faster than anything the Krethians had. She looked tired. Everyone looked tired these days. The last ship is ready, she said. All 500 are operational. The quantum drives are installed and tested. We're ready, Day. 20 years, Day said quietly. We've been building for 20 years. The whole time, we acted broken. We acted scared. We let them think they won. They believed it, Hana said. Why wouldn't they? We gave them no reason to suspect. Every colony, every station, every underground facility was building weapons while looking defeated on the surface. Jin's intelligence network made sure they saw only what we wanted them to see. Jin was the man who made the deception possible. For 20 years, he fed the Krethians false information. He made humanity look weak and broken. He made them feel safe. He was a master of lies, and those lies bought humanity time to build an army. The door opened again. Jin walked in with a young woman named Mina. She was one of his intelligence officers. Her face was pale and her hand shook slightly. We have a problem, Jin said. His voice was calm, but Day heard the anger beneath it. Mina brought news from Krethos Prime. Tell him. Mina swallowed hard. The Krethian High Council met yesterday. They voted on humanity's future. The vote was unanimous. And? Day asked, though he already knew it was bad. Complete extermination, Mina said. They decided humanity is too useless to keep alive. Too many mouths to feed, not enough value. They're sending a genocide fleet to Earth. It will arrive in 90 days. They plan to crack the planet's core, kill everyone at once. The room went silent. Day felt something cold settle in his chest. Not fear, not anymore. Something else. Something harder. How many ships in the genocide fleet? He asked. 300 warships, 14 planet cracker weapons, enough to destroy Earth and every colony. Day nodded slowly. He turned to look at Hana. Can we be ready in 90 days? We're ready now, Hana said. We've been ready for 6 months. We were just waiting for your order. Then I'm giving it, Day said. Send word to all cells, all colonies, all stations. Activate the silence protocol. Phase 1 begins immediately. We hit them everywhere at once. We hit them hard. We show no mercy, Jin smiled. It was not a nice smile. I've been waiting 20 years to hear those words. Contact Yuna, Day continued. Tell her to mobilize the ground forces. Every soldier, every weapon. The Vengeful Legion marches now. Yuna was the general who trained humanity's secret army. Millions of soldiers trained in the dark, equipped with weapons the Krethians never knew existed. They called themselves the Vengeful Legion, and they had trained for one purpose only, to make the Krethians pay. Mina spoke up hesitantly. Commander, if we attack now, they'll retaliate. Civilians will die. Millions of humans are still in the camps. Day turned to her. His eyes were hard. Billions will die if we don't act. The genocide fleet leaves us no choice. We waited too long already. We hoped they would show mercy. They chose extermination instead. Now we finish this, what about mercy? Mina asked. Aren't we supposed to be better than them? We were better, Day said quietly. That's why 2 billion of our people are dead. They took our mercy and called it weakness. They took our patience and called it cowardice. We gave them 20 years to leave us alone. They voted to kill us all instead. Mercy is a luxury for those who aren't facing extinction. Hana put a hand on his shoulder. We can't become what they are. We won't, Day said. But we will survive. That's all that matters now. Survival, victory, freedom, whatever the cost. He walked to the communications console and activated the fleet-wide channel. 500 ships, scattered across the solar system, all hidden in the darkness between worlds, all waiting for this moment. This is Commander Day to all ships and stations. The wait is over. The Krethians have sentenced humanity to death. We will not accept that sentence. Today we reveal what we've built in the darkness. Today we show them what happens when you push humanity too far. Today, we strike without mercy. He paused, thinking of his wife and daughter, thinking of the billions who died in the camps, thinking of the children who grew up as slaves, thinking of everything that was stolen from humanity. Launch all ships. Activate all cells. Begin simultaneous strikes across all occupied systems. Destroy Krethian military assets. Free the camps. Cut their communications. Make them blind. Make them scared. Make them regret the day they came to Earth. Around the solar system, 500 warships powered up their engines. The quantum drives hummed to life, ready to fold space itself. Humanity's secret army emerged from hiding. The vengeful legion marched toward the transport ships that would carry them to the colonies. After 20 years of silence, humanity finally screamed. Day watched the fleet begin to move. Each ship represented years of work, millions of people working in secret. Every scientist, every engineer, every worker who risked execution to build these weapons, all of them driven by the same thing, rage at what was done to them and determination that it would never happen again. They thought we were weak, Hana said softly, standing beside him. They thought we would stay broken forever. They were wrong, Day said. We weren't weak. We were waiting. We were planning. We were building. And now we're ready. The first ships began to disappear, folding space to reach their targets. The war had begun. There would be no turning back now. No negotiations. No surrender. Only victory or extinction. Day had made his choice 20 years ago, the day he learned his family was dead. Now, finally, he would make the Krethians pay for every human life they took. The age of mercy was over. The age of vengeance had begun. The attack began at exactly midnight Earth time. Across 47 star systems, humanity struck at the same moment. The Krethians never saw it coming. On Vexus Prime, a mining colony where 2 million humans slaved in the asteroid fields, Tay led his strike team through the underground tunnels. They moved silently, wearing armor that bent light around them. The Krethians had sensors everywhere, but human engineers had learned to fool them years ago. Tay was 35 years old and had spent half his life in the camps. He remembered freedom, barely. He remembered Earth's sky, though the memory felt like a dream now. He remembered his brother, taken away when Tay was just 16. He never learned what happened to him. Now he carried a plasma rifle and murder in his heart. Team Alpha in position, whispered a voice in his ear. Team Beta in position. Team Gamma ready. Tay checked his weapon one last time. All teams execute. The camp's lights died. Emergency power failed. Communications went dead. In the darkness, human soldiers moved like ghosts. They had practiced this strike for years. Every guard post, every checkpoint, every barracks was targeted simultaneously. The Krethians never stood a chance. Tay's team hit the main garrison. The aliens were scrambling for their weapons when the plasma bolts started flying. They expected docile slaves, broken and scared. Instead, they found soldiers who had trained in secret for 2 decades. Soldiers who knew every inch of the camp. Soldiers who wanted revenge. The battle lasted 17 minutes. 800 Krethian guards died. Not one surrendered. Tay made sure of that. When the lights came back on, 2 million human slaves stood free for the first time in years. Some cried. Some laughed. Some just stood there, unable to believe it was real. Tay activated the camp's communication system and broadcast to all of them. This is Liberation Team 7. You are free. Humanity has risen. The war has begun. Anyone who can fight, join us. Anyone who cannot, we will protect you. The Krethians will never chain us again. The cheering was so loud it hurt his ears. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. On 47 worlds, human forces emerged from hiding and struck. Camps were liberated. Garrisons were destroyed. The Krethians, who had ruled for 3,000 years, finally felt fear. Captain Sora commanded the stealth ship Silent Fury. Her mission was the most critical: destroy the Krethian communications hub at Nexus Gate. If she succeeded, the entire Krethian Empire would go blind. They would not be able to warn each other, coordinate defenses, or call for help. Her ship was small, just 20 crew members. But it was equipped with the most advanced stealth technology humanity had ever built. The Krethians could not see them coming. Sora was 40 years old and had never set foot on Earth. She was born in the camps, the daughter of 2 slaves who died before she was 10. She grew up with nothing but stories of a blue planet she had never seen. Stories of forests and oceans and freedom. She promised herself she would see Earth before she died. But first she had work to do. Approaching Nexus Gate, her pilot said. Enemy sensors are active. 12 warships in defensive positions. Stay on course, Sora said calmly. They can't see us. Trust the tech. Her ship glided past the Krethian patrols like a shadow. The aliens never detected them. Human engineers were very, very good at building things the Krethians never expected. Weapons range in 30 seconds, her tactical officer said. Target the primary relay station, Sora ordered. All missiles, 1 shot. Make it count. The Silent Fury launched its entire payload at once. 20 quantum-tipped missiles screamed toward the massive space station that connected all Krethian communications. The aliens had seconds to react. It was not enough. The missiles hit perfectly. The station exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Debris scattered across space, and suddenly the entire Krethian Empire could not talk to itself anymore. Communications hub destroyed, her tactical officer reported, grinning. The whole empire just went dark. Good, Sora said. Now get us out of here before they figure out what happened. Her ship disappeared into the void. Mission accomplished. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Hyun led Battle Group Vengeance toward the Krethian Military Academy on Torthus. This was where the aliens trained their future officers. Young Krethians who had never seen real war, who thought they were invincible, who believed their empire would rule forever. Hyun was going to teach them the truth. His fleet consisted of 50 warships, all equipped with humanity's best weapons. They dropped out of quantum fold directly above the academy. The young Krethians scrambled to their defensive positions, but they were students, not soldiers. They sent desperate messages pleading for mercy. Hyun opened a channel to all of them. This is Admiral Hyun of the Human Liberation Fleet. You ask for mercy. Let me tell you about mercy. 20 years ago, your empire took my son. He was 8 years old. I begged for mercy. I pleaded. I offered everything I had. Do you know what your people said to me? He paused, letting the silence stretch. Nothing. They said nothing. They took him anyway. He died in a labor camp 6 months later. 8 years old. So when you ask me for mercy now, I give you the same response your empire gave my son. Nothing. His fleet opened fire. The Academy's shields held for 3 minutes. Then they collapsed. The weapons platforms were destroyed next. Then the barracks. Then the command center. The young Krethians tried to fight back, but they were overwhelmed. Most died at their posts. Some tried to escape in shuttles. Hyun's fighters hunted them down. When it was over, the Academy was gone. Nothing remained but debris and silence. Hyun felt nothing. No satisfaction, no regret. Just emptiness. His son was still dead. Destroying the Academy did not bring him back. But maybe it prevented some other 8-year-old from dying in a camp. Maybe that was enough. Back on the flagship, Day monitored all the attacks simultaneously. Reports came in from every system. The numbers were staggering. In just 4 hours, humanity had destroyed 300 Krethian ships, liberated 47 colonies, and killed 8 million Krethian soldiers. The galaxy was shocked. For 20 years, humanity seemed broken and defeated. Now they revealed the truth. They were never broken. They were preparing. They were building. They were waiting for the right moment to strike, and they struck without mercy. Hana found Day in the command center, staring at the tactical displays. We did it, she said. Phase 1 is complete. All targets hit. All colonies liberated. The Krethians are blind and scattered. Good, Day said quietly. But this is just the beginning. They will regroup. They will come for us with everything they have. Are we ready for that? We have to be, Hana said. There is no turning back now. We showed them what we are. We showed the galaxy what happens when you push humanity too far. Day nodded. He thought about his wife and daughter. He thought about all the humans who died in the camps. He thought about the children who grew up as slaves. He thought about everything the Crethians took from humanity. They had 20 years to make peace, he said. They had 20 years to show mercy. They had 20 years to leave us alone. They chose genocide instead. So now we finish this. No matter what it costs. No matter what we have to become. Hana put a hand on his shoulder. We are not like them, Day. We fight for freedom. They fought for power. That is the difference, is it? Day asked. We just killed 8 million of them in 4 hours. We destroyed an academy full of students. We showed no mercy to anyone who asked for it. How are we different? We did not start this war, Hana said firmly. They did. We did not enslave them. They enslaved us. We did not plan genocide, they did. We are defending ourselves. That is the difference. Day wanted to believe her. He wanted to think they were still the good ones. But he remembered Admiral Hyun's voice when he refused mercy to the academy. He remembered Tay's report that not one Crethian guard survived. He remembered his own orders, strike without mercy. Maybe they were not the good ones anymore. Maybe that was the price of survival. Maybe becoming monsters was the only way to beat monsters. He did not know. He only knew that humanity would not die quietly. If the Crethians wanted to exterminate them, they would pay a terrible price for trying. The galaxy was watching now. The galaxy knew humanity was not weak. The galaxy knew humanity could fight back. The galaxy knew that pushing humans too far was a mistake. The Crethians were about to learn that lesson the hard way. On Krithos Prime, the capital world of the Crethian Empire, High Executor Vrath stood in the war room and watched his empire burn. The tactical displays showed disaster after disaster. 47 colonies lost, 300 ships destroyed. 8 million Crethian dead, all in less than 48 hours. The humans did this. The weak, broken humans who were supposed to be nothing more than slaves. Vrath was 300 years old. He had led the Crethian Empire for 50 years. He had conquered 12 species and added 200 worlds to the empire. He had never lost a war. He had never even imagined losing a war. Now he was watching the impossible happen. How? He demanded. How did they build a fleet without us knowing? How did they hide weapons for 20 years? How did our intelligence fail so completely? His advisors had no good answers. They stammered and made excuses. Vrath wanted to kill them all, but that would not help. The damage was done. Humanity had revealed itself to be far more dangerous than anyone thought possible. Recall all fleets, Vrath ordered. Pull every ship back from the border worlds. Consolidate our forces. We face a real threat now. What about the genocide fleet heading to Earth? An advisor asked nervously. Change its mission, Vrath said. We need those ships to defend the core worlds. The humans will come for us. I know they will. They want revenge. Should we negotiate? Another advisor suggested. Perhaps we can reach a peace agreement. Vrath laughed bitterly. Negotiate? With humans? After what we did to them? No, they will never accept peace. We enslaved them. We killed billions of them. We voted to exterminate their entire species. They will not forgive that. They will not forget. They will come for us with everything they have. He was right, but he did not know how right he was. Vrath ordered his best commander to take the Empire's most powerful fleet and destroy the human threat. Battle Empress Xelith was the greatest warrior the Crethians had. She had won 100 battles and never lost once. She commanded 900 warships, the largest fleet in the Empire. If anyone could stop the humans, it was her. Xelith was confident. She studied the reports of humanity's attacks and saw amateurs who got lucky. Yes, they had good technology. Yes, they had surprise on their side. But they did not have experience. They did not have the discipline of a real military force. They were slaves who learned to fight, nothing more. She would crush them easily. Her fleet intercepted the human strike force at the Helion Nebula. The humans had 89 ships. She had 900. The odds were overwhelmingly in her favor. The battle began at dawn, ship time. Xelith expected the humans to retreat. They were outnumbered 10-1. Any smart commander would run. Instead, the humans charged straight at her fleet. Fools, she said. They are making this easy. She was wrong. The human ships moved faster than anything she had ever seen. They dodged her weapons fire with impossible precision. Their quantum drives let them appear and disappear across the battlefield, hitting her ships from unexpected angles. Their weapons hit harder than she thought possible, and they fought with a fury that shocked her. Human pilots rammed their damaged ships into Crethean vessels rather than retreat. Human captains held their positions even when their shields failed and their hulls broke apart. Human gunners kept firing until their ships exploded around them. They fought like they had nothing to lose, like death was better than surrender, like they would rather burn than bow. Zeleth had fought many battles against many species. She had seen warriors fight bravely, but she had never seen anything like this. The humans did not fight like soldiers. They fought like demons. Her fleet was being torn apart. All ships focus fire on their flagship, Zeleth ordered. Kill their commander. Break their spirit. 600 Crethean ships turned their weapons on Day's flagship, the Vengeance. The firepower was overwhelming. The ship's shields collapsed in seconds. The hull began to break apart. Systems failed. Crew members died, but Day did not retreat. He kept his ship in the fight even as it burned around him. All power to weapons, he ordered. If we are going to die, we take as many of them with us as we can. The Vengeance fired everything it had. Missiles, plasma bolts, kinetic rounds, everything. 3 Crethean cruisers exploded. 2 more were crippled. Then a human frigate appeared next to the Vengeance and used its own shields to protect the flagship. The frigate died in seconds, but it bought Day time to pull back. All across the battlefield, similar sacrifices were happening. Human ships protected each other. They covered retreats. They threw themselves into danger to save their comrades. The Cretheans fought as individuals. The humans fought as one. That made all the difference. The battle raged for 11 hours. When it finally ended, the Helion Nebula was filled with debris. 89 human ships had been reduced to 43. 46 ships destroyed. 44,000 humans dead. But 900 Crethean ships had been reduced to 260. 640 ships destroyed. 300,000 Cretheans dead, including Battle Empress Zeleth herself. Her flagship had been hit by a human kamikaze attack. A damaged human destroyer, its engines failing and crew dead, had been steered by its dying captain straight into Zeleth's command deck. The explosion killed everyone on board. As her ship burned, Zeleth sent one final message to the human fleet. Her voice was weak, blood in her throat. "What are you?" she asked. "We studied your species for 20 years. You were compassionate. You were peaceful. You valued life. You were weak. What happened to you?" Day's response was cold and hard. "You happened to us. You came to our world offering peace and brought slavery instead. You killed 2 billion of our people. You turned our children into slaves. You voted to exterminate us completely. You had 20 years to make peace. You chose genocide. We are what you made us. We are what we had to become to survive." Zeleth's ship exploded before she could reply. On Krathos Prime, Vrath watched the battle reports in stunned silence. His best commander was dead. His largest fleet was destroyed. And the humans were still coming. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Crethean Empire faced a real threat to its existence. For the first time in 50 years, Vrath felt genuine fear. Back on the human flagship, Day surveyed the damage. 46 ships lost, 44,000 people dead. Each loss hurt. Each name on the casualty list was someone who would never see Earth free. Someone who sacrificed everything for a chance at victory. A young pilot named Wu came to report. He was only 19 years old. He had been born in the camps and never known freedom. His parents died before he was born, killed in a Crethean factory. He flew his fighter with a picture of them taped to his console. He had never met them, but he fought for them anyway. "Commander," Wu said quietly. "Permission to speak freely?" "Granted," Day said. "Was it worth it, sir?" 46 ships, 44,000 people. Was this battle worth that cost? Day looked at the young pilot. He wanted to say yes. He wanted to say their sacrifice mattered. But the truth was more complicated. "I do not know," Day admitted. "We hurt them badly. We destroyed their best fleet. We proved we can fight them head-on and win. But the cost was terrible. Every person we lost was someone we cannot afford to lose. We are fighting for our survival. Every death brings us closer to extinction." "Then why do we fight?" Wu asked. "Because the alternative is death," Day said. "The Cretheans voted to kill us all. If we do not fight, we die. At least this way we have a chance. At least this way we take some of them with us. At least this way we die free instead of in chains. Wu nodded slowly. My parents died in chains? I will not. If I die fighting. That is enough for me. He saluted and left. Day watched him go and felt old. So many young people like Wu who never knew peace, who grew up in slavery, who only knew how to fight. An entire generation raised in chains, now fighting for freedom they had never experienced. What would happen to them if they won? Would they know how to live in peace? Or had the war changed them too much? Day did not know. He only knew that the war was far from over. The Crethians still had thousands of ships. They still controlled most of the galaxy, and their genocide fleet was still heading toward Earth. The worst battles were still to come. Jin appeared on the command deck with urgent news. Commander, we have a problem. The genocide fleet changed course, but not back to HFY. They are still heading toward Earth, and they are moving faster than before. How long until they arrive? Day asked. 15 days, Jin said. We need to get back to Earth immediately. If that fleet reaches our homeworld, everything we fought for is lost. Day looked at his battered fleet. 43 ships, all damaged, crews exhausted, weapons depleted. Against 300 fresh Crethian ships carrying planet cracker weapons, the odds were impossible, but they had to try. Earth was everything. If Earth fell, humanity was finished. Set course for Earth, Day ordered. Maximum speed. We race the genocide fleet. If we get there first, we have a chance. If they get there first, it is over. The race had begun. Day stood in the command center and made the hardest decision of his life. His forces were spread across 40 different star systems. Millions of humans were still trapped in camps on distant worlds. They were waiting for rescue. They were counting on humanity's fleet to save them. But if Day went to save them, Earth would fall. The genocide fleet would arrive first. The planet cracker weapons would destroy humanity's homeworld. 8 billion people would die. He had to choose. Save the millions in the camps or save the billions on Earth. There was no good choice. Only a terrible one. Send orders to all units, Day said, his voice heavy. All ships are to immediately set course for Earth. Maximum speed. No delays, no detours. We abandon all other operations. Jin looked shocked. But Commander, what about the camps? What about the millions still enslaved? They will have to wait, Day said. If Earth falls, there is no humanity left to save them. We must protect the homeworld first. Everything else is secondary. They will die, Jin said quietly. When the Crethians realize we abandoned them, they will execute the prisoners. Millions will die. I know, Day said. Believe me, I know. But billions will die if we fail to protect Earth. This is war. In war, there are only bad choices and worse choices. This is the bad choice. The worst choice is letting Earth burn. Jin nodded slowly. He understood. That did not make it hurt less. Across the galaxy, human forces received their orders. Some commanders protested. Some refused to believe it. But orders were orders. The fleet turned toward Earth. Behind them, the camps they had liberated celebrated freedom. The camps they had not reached yet waited in despair. And the Crethians, realizing humanity's forces were leaving, began executing prisoners. Day would never know the exact number. But estimates later suggested that 3 million humans died because he chose to save Earth instead of them. 3 million people who died in camps hoping for rescue that never came. It was the price of survival. And it would haunt him forever. Captain Sora and the Silent Fury volunteered for a suicide mission. Someone had to slow down the genocide fleet. Someone had to buy time for the main forces to reach Earth first. Her ship was fast and stealthy. It could harass the Crethian fleet, hit and run, delay them just enough. But it was a one-way mission. The Silent Fury could not fight 200 Crethian warships alone. Eventually they would be caught and destroyed. Sora's crew knew this. They voted unanimously to do it anyway. We were born in the camps, Sora told Day. We never saw Earth, we never knew real freedom. But maybe we can save it for others. Maybe that is enough. Maybe that is what we were meant to do. Day wanted to refuse. He wanted to order her to stay with the fleet. But he needed those extra days. He needed every hour he could get. Earth will remember you, he promised. I will make sure of it. Your names will be remembered forever, Sora smiled. Then we will die for something that matters. That is more than most people get. Her ship disappeared into the void, heading straight toward the genocide fleet. For 72 hours, the Silent Fury became a ghost that haunted the Crethian fleet. They appeared from nowhere, launched missiles, and vanished before the Crethians could respond. They hit supply ships. They damaged engines. They destroyed weapon systems. They were everywhere and nowhere. The Cretheans tried everything to catch them. They spread their fleet out. They set traps. They fired blindly into empty space, hoping to hit the stealth ship by luck. Eventually, their luck came through. A random sensor sweep detected the silent fury for just 2 seconds. It was enough. 20 Crethian ships converged on that location. They fired everything they had into the darkness. The silent fury's shields collapsed. The hull broke apart. The ship began to die. Sora had one choice left. She could try to escape, maybe save a few crew members in the lifeboats, or she could ram the Crethian flagship and do maximum damage with her death. She chose to ram. The silent fury, its engines screaming at maximum power, crashed into the Crethian command ship at relativistic speed. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. Both ships were completely destroyed. 3,000 Crethians died instantly, and the genocide fleet was delayed by 4 more hours. Sora never got to see Earth, but she saved it anyway. On Earth itself, General Yuna prepared defenses. She knew they were inadequate. If the genocide fleet arrived before the human fleet, nothing could stop them. The planet cracker weapons would shatter Earth's core. The planet would break apart. Everyone would die, but she prepared anyway. Because that was what soldiers did. They fought even when the odds were impossible. They stood even when standing meant death. Yuna was 52 years old. She had been in the military before the Crethians came. She watched her entire unit get slaughtered trying to defend Earth during the first invasion. She survived by pretending to surrender, then spent 20 years training a secret army. Now that army stood ready. 10 million soldiers. Every weapon humanity could build. Every defense they could prepare. It would not be enough to stop the genocide fleet, but maybe it would be enough to make them pay. She addressed the 8 billion people still on Earth through every broadcast channel. People of Earth, she said. Our fleet is coming, but it might not arrive in time. If the Crethian genocide fleet gets here first, they will try to destroy our world. If that happens, we do not surrender. We do not beg for mercy. We fight to the last. We make them pay for every inch. We show them that humanity does not go quietly into the dark. The people listened. Some were afraid. Some were angry. Some were resigned. But all of them understood. They had lived under Crethian rule for 20 years. They knew there was no mercy to be had, only survival or death. A scientist named Jay came to Yuna with a desperate plan. He had designed a quantum field generator that could shield Earth from the planet cracker weapons for 6 hours. Long enough for the fleet to arrive and fight. But the generator required operators to stay at their posts, and the radiation it produced would kill them all within minutes. Yuna asked for volunteers. She needed 500 people willing to die to save the planet. 20,000 people volunteered within an hour. Yuna selected the 500 with the best technical skills. Most of them were young. Most of them had families. All of them knew they were choosing death. She shook each of their hands personally. Earth will remember you. History will honor you. Your families will be cared for. You are heroes, all of you. One young woman, barely 20 years old, smiled sadly. My parents died in the camps. I have no family. At least this way, my death means something. At least I saved something that matters. The 500 took their positions at the generator stations. They said their goodbyes. They wrote final letters. They prepared to die. Across the solar system, humanity's battered fleet raced home. Hana pushed the quantum drives beyond their design limits. Engineers worked frantically to keep the engines from exploding. The ship hulls groaned under the stress. But they kept accelerating. Every hour mattered. Every minute counted. Day watched the tactical displays obsessively. 2 fleets racing toward the same destination. The Crethian genocide fleet was ahead, but barely. If humanity's ships could maintain their current speed, they would arrive 4 hours before the Crethians. 4 hours to prepare. 4 hours to set up defenses. 4 hours to save 8 billion lives. But maintaining that speed was destroying the ships. One cruiser's engines exploded, killing everyone on board. A destroyer's quantum drive collapsed, stranding the ship in deep space. A frigate's hull cracked from the stress, and half the crew died before they could seal the breach. Each loss was necessary. Each sacrifice bought them precious minutes. Hana's own ship, the engineering vessel that designed the quantum drives, suffered catastrophic damage. The engines were burning out. She could fix them, but it would take hours. Hours they did not have. Or she could push them even harder, boost the entire fleet's speed by 5%. But her ship's engines would completely destroy themselves. She would arrive at Earth in an unpowered hulk, drifting and helpless. "Do it," she told her crew. "Boost the fleet. Burn out the engines. We do not need to fight. We just need to get there." Her engineers looked at her with respect and sadness. They knew what she was choosing. They implemented her orders without question. The fleet accelerated, and Hana's ship began to die. Young pilot Wu flew his fighter with desperate determination. The small craft could not maintain the fleet's speed. His engines were not powerful enough. He was falling behind. Soon he would be left alone in deep space, but his fighter still had weapons, and he had one way to help. Ahead of the fleet, Wu detected a Krathian scout ship. It was watching the human fleet, sending reports back to the genocide fleet. If it kept reporting, the Krathians would know exactly when humanity would arrive. Wu changed course. He intercepted the scout ship alone. The Krathians saw him coming. One small fighter against their armed scout. They laughed. They thought it was suicide. They were right. Wu fired all his missiles, destroying the scout ship's engines. Then he rammed his fighter into their communications array, destroying it and himself. His last transmission was simple. "For the parents I never knew. For the Earth I never saw. For the freedom I never had." Then he was gone. The race continued. The fleets drew closer to Earth. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. The human fleet arrived at Earth exactly 4 hours before the Krathian genocide fleet. 4 hours to prepare, 4 hours to rest, 4 hours to say goodbye to everyone they loved, just in case. Day stood on the bridge of the Vengeance and looked at Earth. He had not seen his homeworld in 15 years. It looked smaller than he remembered. Fragile, beautiful, blue and green and white hanging in the darkness of space like a jewel. 8 billion people lived down there. They were counting on him to save them. He had 43 damaged warships against 200 fresh Krathian vessels. The odds were impossible, but he would try anyway. Because that was what humanity did now. They fought impossible battles. They stood against overwhelming odds. They refused to surrender. All ships, defensive positions around Earth, Day ordered. Protect the planet at all costs. If they want to crack our world, they will have to go through us first. The fleet spread out, forming a defensive shell around Earth. Every weapon was checked. Every shield was powered up. Every crew member said quiet prayers to whatever gods they still believed in. On the surface, General Yuna's forces prepared for the worst. The 500 volunteers at the quantum field generators powered up the machines. The deadly radiation began immediately. They would be dead within an hour. But the shield would hold for 6 hours, long enough for the fleet to fight. The Krathian genocide fleet arrived exactly on schedule. 200 warships, 14 planet cracker weapons, enough firepower to destroy 100 worlds. High Executive Wrath himself commanded the fleet. He wanted to watch humanity die. He wanted to see Earth shatter. He wanted revenge for the embarrassment humanity had caused his empire. Human fleet, Wrath broadcast. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now. Accept your extinction with dignity. We will make it quick and painless. Day's response was simple and cold. No. Then you will all die, Wrath said. Probably, Day agreed. But we will take as many of you with us as we can. You wanted to exterminate us. Come and try. Let's see what it costs you. The Krathian fleet opened fire. The Battle of Earth began. Space above the planet became a storm of weapons fire. Plasma bolts, missiles, kinetic rounds, energy beams, everything humanity and the Krathians could throw at each other. Ships exploded. Shields collapsed. Hulls broke apart. People died by the thousands. The human fleet fought with desperate fury. They knew they were defending their homeworld. There was nowhere to retreat. Nowhere to run. This was the last stand. Win or die. Day's flagship took hit after hit. The shields failed. The hull cracked. Systems went offline. Half his crew was dead, but he kept fighting. He kept giving orders. He kept his ship in the battle. Around Earth, similar scenes played out on every human vessel. Captains stayed at their posts even as their ships burned. Gunners kept firing even as flames consumed them. Engineers sealed breaches even as the vacuum of space killed them. They fought for their families, for their children, for the world that hung blue and beautiful beneath them. The Krathians fought too. But they fought for orders, for duty, for the glory of their empire. They did not fight for love. They did not fight for home. They fought because they were told to. That made all the difference. General Una watched the space battle from Earth's surface. She saw human ships dying. She saw the fleet being overwhelmed. She saw the Crethian planet cracker weapons moving into position. "Activate the quantum field," she ordered. On the surface, 500 volunteers pushed the generators to maximum power. The radiation levels became instantly lethal, but the shield activated. A shimmering barrier of quantum energy surrounded Earth. The planet cracker weapons fired. The energy hit the shield and dissipated harmlessly. Earth was safe. For 6 hours, but the 500 volunteers were dying. The radiation was cooking them from the inside. Some collapsed at their posts. Some vomited blood. Some screamed in pain, but none of them left their stations. They stayed. They kept the generators running. They bought Earth precious time. The young woman who had no family smiled even as the pain became unbearable. She was 20 years old. She would never see 21. But Earth would survive. That was enough. She died at her post, hands still on the controls, keeping the shield active until her heart stopped beating. All 500 died the same way. Heroes to the end. In space, the battle raged for 11 hours. The longest 11 hours of Day's life. His fleet was being destroyed ship by ship. 43 warships became 35, then 28, then 19, but they took the Crethians with them. 200 warships became 140, then 90, then 60. The Crethians started to realize they were losing. They had numbers. They had power. But the humans had something stronger. They had purpose. They had rage. They had nothing to lose. Jin coordinated the final intelligence operation. He broadcast every Crethian war crime to every species in the galaxy, every execution, every slave camp, every torture session, every crime the Crethians committed over 20 years. The galaxy watched, and the galaxy judged. High Executor Vrath's flagship pushed forward, trying to reach the planet crackers that were now in position. If he could fire them all at once, even the quantum shield would fail. Earth would die. Day saw what Vrath was planning. He made a decision. "Hana," he said over the communication channel, "activate the singularity cascades." Hana, drifting in her dead ship nearby, hesitated. "Day, that weapon will destroy everything in orbit, including our ships. Including us." "I know," Day said quietly. "But if we do not use it, the planet crackers will fire. Earth will die. We have to make the sacrifice. We always knew it might come to this." "How many ships will we lose?" Hana asked, though she already knew. 40, Day said. 40 ships will be caught in the cascade. 20,000 people, but 8 billion will live. Silence on the channel. Then one by one, the 40 ships closest to the Crethian planet crackers confirmed they understood. They were volunteering. They were choosing to die so Earth could live. "Do it," Day ordered. Hana activated the weapon. Artificial singularities appeared throughout the battlefield. Gravity went insane. Space itself twisted and bent. Ships were pulled into microscopic points and crushed out of existence. 40 human ships died instantly. 20,000 humans gone in a flash of light. But every single Crethian planet cracker was destroyed. And 60 Crethian warships were caught in the cascades and crushed. High Executor Vrath watched his fleet die. He watched his planet crackers disappear. He watched the humans sacrifice themselves to save their world, and for the first time in his 300-year life, he felt genuine fear. "All ships, retreat," he ordered. "Fall back to Krethos Prime. Retreat." But it was too late. The human fleet, reduced now to just 8 ships, pursued them. They hunted down the fleeing Crethians. They showed no mercy. By the time the battle ended, only 40 Crethian ships escaped. 160 were destroyed. High Executor Vrath's flagship was crippled and drifting. He was captured alive. The Battle of Earth was over. Humanity had won, but the cost was terrible. 43 ships became 8. 50,000 humans died in space. 500 died on the surface. Millions died in the camps when the rescue missions were abandoned. Earth was saved, but the price was paid in blood and sacrifice. Day stood in what remained of his command center and composed a final message to the Crethian Empire. He broadcasted on all channels to every Crethian world, to every species in the galaxy. "This is Commander Day of the Human Liberation Fleet. The Battle of Earth is over. Your genocide fleet is destroyed. Your High Executor is our prisoner. You tried to exterminate us. You failed. Now you will face consequences." He paused, letting his words sink in. "You have 30 days. Withdraw from every human colony. Release every human slave. Return every stolen resource. Agree to these terms, and we will show you more mercy than you ever showed us. We will let you survive. Refuse and we come for HFY. We will not negotiate. We will not bargain. We will finish what you started." The message ended. 3 weeks later, the Krithian Empire surrendered unconditionally. For the first time in 3,000 years, they admitted defeat. They withdrew from the human colonies. They released the slaves. They returned the stolen resources. Humanity was free. But freedom had a price. 6 months after the war ended, Dai stood trial at the Galactic Court. He was charged with war crimes. Excessive force. Weapons of mass destruction. Refusal to accept surrender. The prosecution listed his crimes for 3 days. His defense was simple. He presented 20 years of evidence. The slavery, the torture, the genocide, the camps, the suffering. He showed the galaxy what the Krethians did to humanity. The court acquitted him, but Day knew the truth. He was guilty. He killed millions. He showed no mercy. He became a monster to fight monsters. He would live with that forever. General Yuna oversaw the reconstruction. Earth was scarred but alive. 2 billion humans had died over 20 years. 300 colonies needed to be rebuilt. An entire generation had grown up knowing only war and slavery, but they were free. Finally, truly free. Hana led the new shipbuilding program. Humanity would build a fleet 10 times larger than before. They would never be vulnerable again. Never be enslaved again. Never be weak again. A medic named Rena, who had saved both human and Krethian wounded during the battles, opened a memorial.